I have with me here another affordable Android 13 tablet. This model is from Doogee. It is called their T20S. It has the Unisoc T616 octa-core chipset, and yes, I have covered it quite a lot because a lot of manufacturers are using it because its price is cheap, that chipset, but also does offer quite a lot for its price point. We've got hardware, FM radio, GPS support, dual SIM support, so it's got a built-in modem, and even micro SD card support with it. And it's stock, the version of Android 2, so there's no bloatware. It even has a wideband level 1 cert. So it's got 8 GB of RAM, 128 GB of UFS 2.1 storage, and the battery capacity of this model here is 7,500 milliamp hours. And our screen size, well, it's 10.4 inches. It's an IPS, fully laminated with a resolution of 2000 by 1200. Let's have a look at what we get included with the T20S. So obviously the tablet right there. We've got a charger. Now it's just 10 watts, this charger, so it will take quite a while. It's over 3 hours charging at 10 watts, that 7,500 milliamp hour battery. A user manual, there's a SIM tray tool, because of course it does take a nano SIM, 2 of them in fact, and micro SD card. And here we have a limited warranty card. And finally, the Type A to Type C USB cable. As for optional extras, they do have a type cover style keyboard. So it's a cover and the keyboard for it all in one, and you use it to prop it up. Now, typing on this keyboard is okay. I covered it in the T30S review that I posted, and it's basically, well, it is the same exact model that you can use on the T20S. It's good if you're going to be typing for long periods, better than using the touch screen. And then there is this active stylus. Now, the active stylus here does not have any pressure sensitive levels. I don't find it to be that good at all, so it's just really a more accurate pointer. That is about it. So it's not good for writing. It's not for artists because there's no pressure sensitive levels. It's simple on or off, and it just gives you that improved accuracy over, say, using your finger. So it's chargers at the top of it with a micro USB port there, and it's got a built-in battery. Well, at least we do have this option, but really it's not a good stylus. Here we have our tablet. So it comes with a pre-installed screen protector. You do need to take off that first layer, which I will do. In fact, that removed the whole screen protector. So you have to be careful that you don't do what I just did and pull the whole thing off. But that doesn't matter. I don't really need it. So at the back of it, we've got alloy here on this surface. There's a bit of plastic on the top, 13 megapixel camera. And it's a unibody, the build of it, so the sides and down the bottom, they are still alloy too as well. Now, it's a matte finish to this black, and it does pick up a few fingerprints and smudges and things. It's bound to happen. It's pretty normal with these kind of tablets too, mind you. And our front-facing camera, this is a 5 megapixel unit, so you get 720p with that, and 1080p on the back when it comes to video performance, and it can take your stills there. Nothing amazing. I'll give you a sample of that later on in this video. So our screen resolution, very common. This is the 2000 by 12,000, so 1200, sorry, and this is 10.4 inches, and it supports 10 touch points. Android 13 that it's currently running, and you see down the bottom we have our Pogo port pin connector there. That is for that keyboard, which is optional if you did want to get that. And you see here we have a Type-C port and our SIM tray. So the SIM tray will take 2 nano SIMs, SD card and 1 nano SIM. You can have just both of them if you want. The modem that the T616 has, it's built into it, does support LTE band 20 if you're wondering about that with the 4G, and with our data, it's all working fine. So Type-C port here is USB 2 spec only. I figured it would be, of course, this pricing category of tablet. It's normal, being an affordable one. So we've got a speaker here on the right, and then another one here on the left. So that's good to see. We've got the dual speakers at least. Other models do have 4 in total. And when you're holding it, you can sometimes block those off, so it's not too bad. Now the thickness of it is 7.9 millimeters, and it does weigh 470 grams. Along the top, plastic volume up and down and power buttons. This little hole there is a reset button, so you can push the SIM tray tool into that in order to reset it. If you need to do that, you shouldn't have to do that with it at all. And this part is plastic for the GPS, wireless, and the 4G reception. Now the screen I've seen a lot of, it does go up to 330 nits that I have measured, so it's relatively bright and you can make it out in a little bit of sunshine, but you don't want to have too much streaming onto the screen because it's highly reflective. So fully laminated, covered with soda lime glass. It doesn't seem to be a tempered glass or one of those scratch-resistant ones. No on brand, at least. We don't know about that. But this screen, it's not bad. It's okay for considering the price point. We're getting the 2K resolution, well, the 1200 by 2000 resolution, and it looks pretty good. Okay, brightness is not bad at all. The colors seem to be fine, and if I just jump into settings here, we do have a few little options with it. You'll see for the display, which is standard, so it is running Android 13, the stock launcher too. So adaptive brightness, we do have that at least. Some of them don't include that sensor, but I've just got it disabled at the moment. It seems to work okay, not too bad, and you can adjust the colors and contrast, which I do like to see. Some brands do not actually give us this option at all. It's missing from the settings, believe it or not. There's a few that seem to do that still. So the gestures, touch seems to all be working pretty well, and not much to say really about the launcher, that it can sometimes feel, well, a little sluggish. The T16, 616 should I say, it works all right, octa-core up to 2 gigs top speed, and it's got the 8 gigabytes of RAM and the 7 additional, which is just virtual memory. But they do, as you'll see on the box, advertise it as having 15 gigabytes of RAM. So don't be fooled by that, because it is the 8 physical plus the 7. So it's a little misleading, that, but I think most people will see around that kind of marketing trick that a lot of these brands are doing. So it's just that really with the UI that you sometimes see it lagging a little bit. The multitasking is all right. It's okay. Things don't seem to be killed off too quick. Now we do have GPS built into it, and you will get an accuracy of, as you can see now, well, I don't think it's got the lock at the moment, but it can go to 1 meter, and even indoors, there we go, it's got it. Seems to work all right. Now, we don't have a hardware compass on board. So for a tablet that is an affordable one, we do get quite a lot on offer. We've got the dual SIM support, 4G LTE band, 20 FM radio, the GPS. What is missing is a 3.5mm headphone jack, and good to see it's all stock too, Android. Now, the tablet doesn't really have any bloatware, as you can see. There isn't, but they've got a lot of Google apps on there, so that's kind of normal. Now, if you do want to use that FM radio that I mentioned before, you will need to plug in a Type-C and then a 3.5mm headset in order to act as then the antenna for it. Then the FM radio will work. So it won't work just by itself, standalone, unfortunately, which is pretty standard. So they do have a system for over-the-air updates, Doogee, and no updates at the time of me posting this review of it. And the internal storage, so 128 gigabytes. The speeds are not bad at all, as you can see there. So we've got sequential reads and writes nearing up to about 1,000. Random reads and writes too are very good, and they're not going to bottleneck the system. What will be bottlenecking it is the Unisoc, the T616, which I have seen a lot of too. So it's not particularly quick. You can see from this Antutu score here, which is version 10. Now version 10 upped the scores a little bit. So it's okay, the performance, as you'll see, that I'll cover in this video, but it's no gaming tablet. Like, it's not super powerful. The weakness really is the GPU side of things. As you can see, it's the lowest score here we do have out of everything. So the CPU is reasonably good, the octa-core, so the 8 cores up to 2 gigahertz, and then the 8 gigabytes of RAM. Now, battery life of 7,500 milliamp hours is okay. It's nothing amazing. So for this particular test that I did, I got 6 hours and 32 minutes. And realistically, you can get around about 7.5 hours. Depends on your brightness, what you're doing. If you're gaming, then it's a lot less. Gaming is about 3 hours. If you're just flat out gaming, very demanding games too, that it's pushing it to the limit, then that is kind of the battery life where it will be burning through it very quick. So it's okay, but not amazing battery life here. Pretty standard, considering the price point. Again here, that I think this is acceptable. Now, charge time here, you can see it took 173 minutes from 18%, so that's just under 3 hours. But if you charge from about 5% or 10%, it will be just over 3 hours to charge it. So it's not fast at charging. Now, they do claim they have a Widevine Level 1 cert. This is correct. It is Level 1, which is great. However, Netflix is not recognizing it at the time of this video. For some reason, I don't know why. Maybe it needs to be refreshed. I did uninstall, reinstall the app, and it still reports when you go into the playback specs in Netflix that it's only standard definition. And I can confirm that playing everything back, using Netflix, testing it out, that it is sadly just standard definition. I do believe that this should be corrected, hopefully when Netflix updates their list of approved Widevine Level 1 tablet that it will then start to stream in full HD. I know the T30S does, at least. So that's why I say that it will eventually get this and you'll be able to stream in full HD. Amazon Prime Video, Disney Plus, all of those should be eventually working because it does have that level 1 wideband cert. Onto our audio now. So you can place calls on it, but I do highly recommend you get yourself one of these. So a Type-C to 3.5mm adapter so you can use a wide microphone. Why? Because if you do answer calls, which I've done before, place calls, it goes through the loudspeakers and the built-in microphone, and it's not very good quality. You really want to use this, and maybe you want a bit of privacy. Depends where you're using it, of course. But hey, it's really good to have this option. So the two downwards firing speakers, they sound a bit flat, they're a little bit tinny, and they're nothing amazing. I'll just jump into one of my videos now and give you a sample of those speakers. So make sure that I'm at 100% volume here. So I'll crank it right up just to give you an example of what you can expect with the T20S. Now, my biggest concern with this tablet is what about gaming performance? It's not exactly a powerful chipset here, is it? The T616. 8 cores, yes, it's got the 8GB of RAM, but as we saw from the Antutu score, not very good GPU performance, right? It's very low. And you will find that in games that are very demanding like this one, Genshin Impact, I really do struggle at times with the choppiness of it. It comes a little bit just unresponsive and frustrating, to say the least, here when you try and play. So when you load in certain areas of the map, you've got a few enemies you're fighting or big bosses, it does bog down. It really starts to choke the gaming performance. So this is where I would say that this tablet can, yes, do a little bit of light gaming, but if you're someone that they're thinking about buying this, maybe for some children, they want to game a lot on it with all their favorite titles, I think they're going to be just a bit disappointed with this performance, which is a little bit choppy, a bit disappointing here. So not really, I don't think this is not a tablet for gaming at all. I think it's a tablet that is going to be ideal for media consumption. So PDF files, ebooks, this is a PDF that's rather large, and I'm using Google Play Books. So I've uploaded this PDF myself to my library, and this is how I get it here, and I get the nice animations with the page turns and everything too. And it looks good, so just double tap there to zoom in. Text is looking sharp. I can happily read things on this. Now you can, of course, have a look at ebooks through it, and you've got the options to invert the screen colors, blue light filter, all of that sort of stuff is there too. So it makes it reasonably comfortable, and at 470 grams, it's not bad, the weight of it. You've got YouTube as well that you can watch, so media consumption, and then Netflix, which I have running here too, will be good on this tablet with the screen once, as I mentioned before, we get everything, of course, in full HD. It's just standard definition at the moment. Over to the cameras now we get with the T20S. So the front-facing camera can shoot 720p only. The audio quality you're listening to is the built-in microphones, of course. There is no electronic image stabilization. I don't find these cameras to be that good at all. At least we do have them. This is rear video, so the focus can sometimes pulse in and out, and it is just 1080p 30 frames per second max. I do believe that your phone will take better footage than this tablet. So just to recap here, that the Doogee T20S is a stock Android 13 tablet that is affordable, that has a lot on offer with the 4G, the GPS, FM radio, and dual SIM LTE band 20. It has stylus support. It's not a brilliant stylus at all, but hey, it's there. We can also get an optional keyboard for it. And the tablet itself, it runs fine for your basic kind of Android 13 tablet needs. So that's why I say like media, YouTube, docs, stuff like that. Light games, it's fine for all of that. You can place voice calls on it. The weaknesses are there's no 3.5mm headphone jack. The gaming performance is not really that amazing. It's not a powerful GPU that it does have. So as I showed you, you can and you will experience lags and choppiness in some of the very demanding games. You need to run the lowest possible visual settings. Apart from that, for the price point, I don't really think you can complain too much considering all of what is on offer here with the Doogee T20S. Thanks a lot for watching this review.